I first came into Kestner Health and Wellness because I was interested in improving my overall health. I'd been experiencing neck pain. I had seen a chiropractor years ago when I lived somewhere else, and it had helped me. And I think I got to the point where my health got off track and I really needed to do something. And Kestner Health and Wellness seemed like the place to start. How did it not affect my daily life? I think that each day I would wake up and I was in pain. So whenever you're in pain, it's very hard to feel comfortable, to not be anxious, to not be short with your family. And it's hard to just make decisions and not feel stressed and annoyed. And you know, having chronic pain, you don't realize it kind of sneaks up on you, and you find ways to deal with it and little adjustments you make in your life to tolerate it. And I think it got to the point where it was just intolerable, both me mentally and physically. I did a search online. It was very important to me to find a place that was owned by someone who was local. Supporting a local business is very important to me. I know how difficult it can be to be a business owner. And so step one for me was looking for a business that was local to Bellevue, not just Nashville, but local to Bellevue in the community. So I went online and I started searching different chiropractic offices. That then led me to different techniques and different technologies that individual chiropractors would use. Some use nothing other than just the manual manipulation. And when I landed on the Kestner site, I really felt like it was a more whole body and whole mind approach to chiropractic care. And that really resonated with me. In addition, it's family owned. You know, being a family owned business just made me feel more comfortable in a way. And so those were a couple of the reasons why I initially reached out and came in for a consultation. I was nervous about what that would be like, you know, a new physician, not knowing them, you know, not knowing that what the environment was like. I think there's always those types of reservations, but I did feel very comfortable knowing that they took a very measured approach. There were x-rays done ahead of time. There was a lot of conversation. There was teaching about what was going to happen and how it was going to happen. So I felt very comfortable when I was here. After I saw my first x-ray, I was shocked. I knew I had been having pain and I had discomfort. I never imagined the x-rays to be as bad as they were. I could feel change in my body. You know, obviously I knew something was off, something wasn't in alignment, something wasn't right. But once I saw those x-rays, it really hit home for me how much the curve in my neck had changed and the impact that was having on my day-to-day life. So it was not just shocking, but shocking in a way that it also really spurred me to be like, I have to take, you know, this seriously. I have to put my health first. So it spurred me to action. I think I was struck by the relationship of Dr. Jason and Dr. Jenny, how they've been in business for a long time together. They've grown up together. They've learned together. They've built a very welcoming environment. I felt that it was, you know, obviously a foundation of true knowledge and really a desire to help people. And it was based on their own experience. And that really resonated with me. I was surprised with how quickly I started to feel better. I knew it would take time. I knew that, you know, pain doesn't go away right away, and even if the pain's gone, there's still underlying issues that need to be addressed. Pain is not the only reason why I was here. I was very surprised at how quickly I not just felt relief, but in my follow-up x-rays saw change, which then of course gets you excited and makes you want to do more. I was also surprised by the exercises before and after the adjustment. In a previous physician that I went to, there wasn't any of that. And I think that really has made the difference. I think the exercises you do before and then afterwards have really helped to reinforce the healing, and has also helped me at home, I would say. In addition to the pain, I rarely have pain in my neck anymore. I have to say I feel just emotionally better. I feel more positive, and I attribute that a lot to not just the chiropractic care, but the environment in the office here. You know, you come in here so often to begin. I was in here 3 times a week and then 2 times a week, and it just, you feel good when you're here. You feel like it's not a, let's try to get people through as quickly as possible. There's none of that at all. I think the staff here, not just the doctors, but also Judy and Sarah, they make the difference. And to me, when you come into an office and someone is caring for your health, knowing that they care about the whole person and that they want to know how your day is and how you've been, and you just feel at ease and comfortable. So I've loved that. Besides not having pain, I would say one of the biggest things I've noticed is my positive attitude. My mentality has certainly changed. I think when you feel better, you act better, and it affects your emotional well-being. And I have noticed that in many different aspects of my life. In dealing with my family, at work, I have a demanding job, and being in pain certainly impacted my personality. And I think now that I don't feel that way, I have more patience at work and at home. And I think I just overall feel more positive and more optimistic. The absence of that pain it impacts every part of your life. When you aren't in pain anymore, it's an incredible feeling. I didn't realize how much I was tolerating and just compensating for, and in many different ways. And now I don't have to do that. And I feel happy, and I feel more patient, and I feel more optimistic. I certainly don't see an end in sight to chiropractic care in my life. I think there is a reason to continue on as a preventative tool to maintain health. And I think one of my other long-term goals, it's not a personal goal, but since I started coming here, my younger daughter has also started coming here. She came in for the free evaluation on her spine. She's 14, so perfect time to do that. And it's been a great experience for the two of us, and I think it's been a wonderful learning experience for her to see the impact of her own habits and how those can impact her own health and her body. And so I think longer term, it's to pass down the value of this type of treatment and care and what that can do for just your life in general. I don't think 14 is too young. I would never have thought of going to a chiropractor when I was 14. I didn't know about it. I would not have thought about it. I don't think there's any age too young. I don't think there's any age too old. My parents live in another country. They're both in their late 70s and mid 80s, and they go to a chiropractor every single week and have for years and years and years and swear by it. When Judy in the office told me that they offer an evaluation for particularly young girls, 14, to check for scoliosis, is there any type of, is there any curvature, is there anything that we need to assess in their growing bodies? And that's a great time to do it. And I remember when I was younger, we went through a similar exam at school. Of course, nothing was done with it. This was back in the 80s. Nothing was done. You were just sent to your doctor for a referral. I think the wonderful thing here that really struck me was not only are we going to do a physical exam and look at your back, we're going to do x-rays, and then we're going to sit down and educate you and talk with you. And so I think having that type of education for a young child, someone in their teens, in their early teens, is invaluable. It really sets them on the course to have a solid foundation of what health should look like. She enjoys being here. Never once has she said like, oh, do we have to go to the doctor today? It's always like, we have our appointment today. Okay, great. I'll come pick me up. So she's excited when she comes here. I think the benefit to her, the biggest benefit, typical teenager on their cell phone all the time, head down. It's horrible. It's horrible for a generation of kids and their development. And I think, well, I know, and I've noticed that she is definitely more aware of her posture, more aware of, instead of doing this, sitting up and using her phone in her hand. I do notice a big change in her in how she thinks about her posture and how she thinks about how that affects her health. I do feel like it's been positive for her, and she definitely enjoys coming here. If you were thinking about coming to Kestner or thinking of getting chiropractic care, I would say, what do you have to lose in coming for an evaluation? You will be surprised what you see when you have an X-ray. You may have no symptoms, you may have very mild, indescript symptoms, but once you really understand how your spine works and what years of habits have done to your own body, I think you would be surprised, and you absolutely would want to continue on the journey of chiropractic care.